We're back on the Sports Zone. I am Mike Aglialoro. So with the fantasy football season officially kicking off on Friday with Yahoo Sports opening up their registration, we're going to take an early look at the fantasy football landscape for the 2014-15 season, and we're going to look at the top 10 running backs in fantasy football. Now, just to tell you my credentials, because I tell my credentials every year, coming off of my 4th fantasy football championship in 11 seasons of playing fantasy football. So I'd like to think I know what I'm talking about. We're going to start with number 1, and as far as I'm concerned, any one of the top 3 running backs you can put in any order you want to, and I'm not really going to argue. My own personal preference is the JC of KC, Jamaal Charles of Kansas City Chiefs at the number 1 spot, AP Adrian Peterson at the number 2 spot, and LaShawn Slim Shady Mccoy at the number 3 spot from the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, you can't go wrong with any of these running backs. Both Charles and Shady are a little bit better than Adrian Peterson in terms of their involvement in the passing game. Jamaal Charles is fortunate enough not to have a lot of great receivers on his team, and Shady is just a great all-around back, so he winds up getting involved twofold. But the reason why I have McCoy ranked 3 instead of 2 over Adrian Peterson is simply because I think the presence of Darren Sproles brings him down 1 ranking spot. That's it. It's not going to hurt him anything major. Whichever one of these guys pick, you can do it with confidence that you have the best player on the board, whichever one of these 3 guys you pick. We'll move to number 4. The 4, 5, and 6 spots again. If you look at the Yahoo and the ESPN rankings, you could put these 3 in any order you want to. My own order is going to be Matt Forte of the Chicago Bears at 4, Beastmode, Marshawn Lynch of the Seattle Seahawks at 5, and Eddie Lacy of the Green Bay Packers at 6. Real simple. Forte is the most versatile of all 3 of these guys at the moment, being involved in the passing game. The only knock on Forte is he doesn't score a lot of touchdowns. He had a career-high 9 last year, and he's been in the league 6 seasons. So that's a little bit of a knock on him. But I like the versatility of Forte over the just raw strength of Marshawn Lynch. When you look at his career, since he came to Seattle in the 2011 season, he's been an absolute monster, not having rushed for anything under 1,200 yards in all 3 of his seasons with the Seahawks. He has rushed for over 300 carries in each of the last 2 seasons, and he does have Christine Michael, who impressed a lot of people as his backup last year, behind him, and Pete Carroll should have no problem. If he wants to rest Marshawn Lynch, he can. So that would take him down a peg simply because he does have a quality running back behind him if Pete Carroll does decide he wants to rest him a little bit. Eddie Lacy, we saw last year. Bottom line is, when he got drafted to the Green Bay Packers, everybody knew that the Packers got what they haven't had since Edgar Bennett and Dorsey Levens were their running backs eons ago. They have a 1,000-yard running back to go with a supremely talented passing game. So Eddie Lacy is a lock for over 1,100 yards every season. He got 1,184 yards last year rushing, and that number's only going up year by year. The only thing that could stop him is injuries, but you could say that about anyone on this list. So Lacy may be ranked number 6. He's the sleeper for me. Now we're going to go to number 7. And to me, this is the first place I'm really going to deviate from what the experts have said. Because I think if you look from 7 to 14, really, you have the same knocks on every running back. You have the same questions with every running back. You have the same playing time questions for just about every running back. So I really feel like it's a flip of the coin any way you go. So I'm going to be different from everyone else. I'm going to say the 7th best running back in fantasy football this year is Demarco Murray of the Dallas Cowboys. Now, you could say he's injury-riddled, but the bottom line is he showed last year. You saw it from the final 7 weeks of the season. He got hurt. He missed weeks 7 and 8. Then he had substandard performances against Washington and Minnesota where he wasn't really used that much. And then they came out of the bye week, and he only had 1 game where he rushed for under 40 yards for the rest of the season, and 1 game where he actually had 3 touchdowns in a game. When he plays, you want him on your team. And last year he played in a career-high 14 games. To me, the arrow's pointing up from Murray, and he's only going to get better. Number 8, we're going to go to another guy who started off last season hurt, and he played 13 games last season and showed that he's going to be the #1 running back for the Pittsburgh Steelers for the foreseeable future, and that's Lavon Bell. Like I said, he missed the first 3 games of last season, and he still rushed for over 800 yards on the season, made a big impact when he came back and really solidified that running game. Yeah, the Steelers signed LeGarrette Blount in the offseason, but you know something? Bell is going to be the bell cow back for him. Blount's going to be a change of pace back, but Bell's going to wind up being the lead back in that system, not just this year. You want him on your team if you're in a dynasty league, just like you want the number 9 guy on this list, Doug Martin of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Now, last year, I actually picked Doug Martin with the 2nd overall pick in my money league draft, and as you might expect, that was a big mistake as he got hurt 6 weeks into the season and was lost for the year. And he wasn't very good in the 6 weeks prior to the season-ending injury. And Charles Sims was drafted by the Bucs in the 4th round this year, and the offensive coordinator just announced earlier on Tuesday that he does want to get a rotation going at running back. He doesn't want to put the load on just one guy, and he was directly quoted as saying, "We might have 2 or 3 running backs we use every game." So to me, what that means is Charles Sims is going to wind up taking some carries. You are going to see guys like Mike James and Bobby Rainey, even though Charles Sims is the best running back not named Doug Martin on that team. But I think if he only loses a moderate amount of carries, it's going to wind up helping Doug Martin. He's recovering from the injury, so you want to keep him fresh as the season goes on. And the number 10 running back, we're going to go with Alfred Morris from the Washington Redskins. Now, he was the best part of the Skins last season, and with the revamped offense, just with Robert Griffin III being healthy and Deshaun Jackson coming over from the Philadelphia Eagles, I think this is going to help Alfred Morris out as well. He's the #1 running back of the Redskins. No longer do we have to worry about the Shanahanigans that always seem to happen when Mike and Kyle Shanahan are involved. He's got Jay Gruden as his head coach now. So I think he is primed for a big year, and not having the Shanahans around makes the arrow go up on his prospects if you're in a dynasty league. So once again, the top 10 running backs in fantasy football. You got the JC of KC, Jamaal Charles, AP, Adrian Peterson, LaShawn Shady McCoy. You got Matt Forte of the Chicago Bears. Number 5, Beastmode, Marshawn Lynch. Number 6, Eddie Lacy of the Green Bay Packers. Number 7, Demarco Murray from the Dallas Cowboys. Number 8, you got Lavon Bell from the Pittsburgh Steelers. Number 9, the returning Doug Martin from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And number 10, Alfred Morris of the Washington Redskins. Check out everything else we got now on This Is Sports Zone. We got the Stanley Cup Final preview, and we got the NBA Finals preview from Jake Dixon and Tom Lembo, respectively. We got Aaron Harasme's preview of the 2014 Men's U.S. World Cup roster. And you got the polls. Vote on the polls. Who do you think's going to win the NBA Finals? Who do you think's going to win the Stanley Cup? Who do you think was the better Mets GM, Sandy Alderson or Omar Minaya? Like us on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter at We Are Sports Zone. Send us any questions and comments you may have. Thanks, everyone, for watching. For This Is Sports Zone, I am Mike Aglialoro. We will see you next time, folks.